Hi all. You want to get everyone's attention for a second. This is the final of the Startup Showdown, the startup competition. We have 3 winners and a wild card. Specially selected wild card, judge's choice to come in for the 4 entries. But each of these have won their round earlier against 3 other competitors. And I have a team of judges here who have questions to ask, but this is the future of technology that we're looking at. Please give a round of applause and a big cheer. First up is Workflex.
If I wanted a clicker, where would I find a clicker? You good, man? Thanks. Hello, everybody. Here we are, just on time for our post-lunch lull. Anybody sleeping? Drooling, snoring? Nobody? Bueller? Good. Same thing I asked the panel of judges a little bit earlier here. Who's been stopped at a border crossing? Airport, port of entry, anyone? Show of hands. All right, fellas here in the front row. How long was your interlude in the holding pen? 1 hour? Drinking in Spain, right? No, not the same. And another little bit of audience participation here. What are the 2 things they say are the only certainties in life? Death, and what is a non-dead person's least favorite thing in the world to do? Pay taxes. If you don't pay your taxes, you get fined. Why does nobody want to get fined? Because you end up in the holding pen for a lot longer, and other countries don't want to let you back in. Quite tough if you've got a record moving into Spain. Ask me about that later. Anyway, name's Brock. I work with Workflex. We are here to automate your international travel compliance program. Issue: companies growing, people everywhere in the world, remote work, people want to come to Spain. I live in Spain. It's nice and easy to use that as my example. You've got hybrid workforces, you've got remote workforces, you've got international projects, you've got a geopolitical nightmare going on all across the world. If you don't know where your people are and you don't know how to manage getting them safely cross borders, you've got some problems. And there's many different reasons people would cross a border for work. I'm Canadian, I live in Spain, as you've heard 5 times already. I like to go home once a year to visit my nieces and nephews. Some people have sick family. Other people have to travel, like I have here today for a conference, business travel. If you've got a big project that you might be opening in another country, another region, you'll be sending somebody on an assignment, a secondment. Each one of those things has a significant number of risks associated to it, and not many companies know what those are, and least of all, how to manage them. Raise your hands if you know what posted workers notifications are. Really? God, I love Brexit. Did you know that if you don't manage your posted workers notification for business travel into Switzerland properly, the first fine is 10,000 francs? You make it and your company on a name and shame list that is publicly hosted on the Swiss government website. If you do it again, it goes up to 50. Important to know what it is. If you don't know what the risk is, there's another layer that I hate to tell you about. It's the individual nature of every single person, every single job, their individual demographics, their travel history, your travel policy, the trip details, the company setup, entities, contract types, and all other myriad factors. And the problem is, if you don't manage that, those 8 risk measures, and all of that different kind of travel in one place, you've got some major issues. So I'd like to introduce you to Workflex. We are a cloud global native platform that plugs into your existing tech stack, meaning your HR platform and your travel tool. We run the entirety of your global travel program through a compliance check using our global compliance engine. We give you a super simple and easy to read risk assessment based on your company profile, your company setup, type of individual, what their, hello individual waiting in the wings, and their individual travel histories, what kind of jobs they're doing, the reason for travel, and all this fun stuff. And most companies would stop there. here's your risk profile, here's what you need to know. We take it that step further. If you have a posted workers notification to manage, an entry visa to manage, an A1 or COC certificate for Social Security, we help you manage that. If you need to post somebody on EOR, we have a partner network for that. If you need to move somebody for an assignment, we have a partner network for relocation management services. All of this goes through one single global platform, so you're no longer managing your entire global workforce via phone, email, or God forbid, a SharePoint. And it gives everybody access to the information that is so absolutely crucial to make sure that your back office has the time and bandwidth back to focus on the hard stuff, and your travelers have an incredible experience across the board using the same tech stack that they're used to, and has one simple app in their pocket, so that if they get stopped at the border, like these fine gentlemen up here, they have all of their documents in one place. It's a simple, quickly show you this, show you that, and it's all good to go. If you don't believe me, trust over 500 companies that use us. And the wonderful thing about WorkFlex is that we're built in a modular way where we can work with companies as small as 10 people, with family offices, VC firms, and the like, all the way up to the likes of TUI, NTT Data, Telenor, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people globally, sending thousands of people across borders on a daily basis. Thank you very much for your time. I've been Brock, and this has been WorkFlex. Questions? Anyone? There's a microphone up here a moment ago. Of course, if you can't find your glasses, it's because you're sitting on them.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about the business model, the commercialization model that you work under?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are part SaaS and part usage. So based on the complexity of your program, we have an annual licensing fee. So it's not a per user, per seat. We're agnostic to how many users you are. We really look at the general volumes. So how many global entities do you have? What number of platform modules are you using for us? And then we have a usage piece. So we sell in terms of credits. So you could think of it like going to a casino, for example. So you might come in and buy a bag of chips with various denominations, and then based on the trip type, whether it's a workation or an assignment or a specific document, we would then deduct based on the credit value on a per-use basis, yeah.
Hi. Can you explain how you built your compliance engine?
Great question. So our co-founder, Peter, actually spent 14 years working for PwC, leading the global mobility function in the DACH and Benelux regions. So his whole nucleus of an idea for the company was to take the brain of an international travel consultant and put it onto a global platform that could leverage automation and AI to really put the power back in your own hands on a self-service model. So then under him, we've built an internal compliance team. I think now we're up to about 250 years of combined global experience. We've got global mobility analysts, tax lawyers, immigration lawyers, various and sundry on the team. And between their knowledge, their industry plugins, and various APIs from other government agencies and things like that, we have everything in that central global compliance engine to make sure that we can truly be ahead of the curve for any changes in legislation. We're actually looking at things as they've been proposed ahead of time to make sure that we've developed to meet the timelines and thresholds.
Okay, so when changes come into place, different countries and policies, etc., how long on average does it take you to update the compliance engine?
Well, there's two kinds of changes. So one would be something that's been planned for. So in Germany, for example, 18 months ago, they changed the way that the A1 certificates are applied for in what was two separate portals, the SV portal and the Meldis portal, I believe, which were merged into SV Meldis portal. We had 6-ish months notice to make sure this could happen. We had absolutely zero impact on our ability to handle the certificates because we knew that was part of the legislation. That's one thing, it's planned. The European Commission is actually quite good at that. If we're looking at international geopolitics, that can be a little tighter and tougher. We do everything we can to stay as on top of it as possible. We have global representation working around the clock. So, provided that it has been made public, we are able to act on it incredibly quickly. And I've actually seen it in play, in response to various and sundry Strait of Hormuz openings and closures, for example, within hours. we're completely live with it across the global platform.
Have you been able to utilize AI to move faster?
Excellent question. We use AI fundamentally as an organization throughout the different functions, but given the highly particular nature of being a legal and compliance company, we don't use Gen AI in the core product. So we use machine learning and automation for our various procedures and aggregation of the information, as we've just talked about here. So it helps us be more efficient and helps us be a lot faster in terms of the way that the various functions and pods operate. But it's also nice that we're not a fundamentally AI company with all the data risk and InfoSec issues that come with that.
You're at an exciting sort of point in your growth. What's your biggest challenge and how do you plan to overcome it?
Also, excellent question. I think trust, if I'm honest. So our biggest competitors are typically the big four consulting firms. And with the global pedigree that those have, with the decades and decades and decades of history and trust, trying to say that a tech provider can actually do something different, do something more efficiently, and most certainly do something cheaper, but do it better, is something that a lot of companies think is too good to be true. And when we actually get in and show them the proof truly is in the pudding, the ROI is seen almost on an instant basis. We're typically seeing costs slashed by almost 2/3, and that admin time saved is usually between 40 and 60%, almost a half an FTE, depending on the organization size, of course.
Me again, sorry.
Hello.
Hello. Earlier you said that you have about 100-something people working in a company, right? What's the size of your R&D team?
Probably about half. Yeah, Prod Eng about half of that.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you, judges. Thank you, everybody else. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful conference. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. Let's hear it. And next up is Fair Shot. I can see them ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alberto, and I'm one of 3 co-founders of Fair Shot. Fair Shot is a startup based in London with a very simple mission, using AI to make hiring fairer for candidates and faster for recruiters. So I'm going to start with a bit of a bold claim that I'm sure most people at this event today would disagree with me about. Hiring is easier than ever. I know you're all thinking that, the whole event today is about making it easier. It's been pretty hard these days. But if you look at the data, it's easy to get to this conclusion. If you look at the number of applications per role in the past few years, the number has more than tripled per role. So it's easy to think more applications, better pipeline, more people to hire. Should be easier. And then if you look at the number when it comes to average online assessment scores, how people are doing on multiple choice assessment, online assessment, there's been a massive inflation in average test scores. So candidates are scoring better, better candidates, better fitting, smarter kids, should be easy. But I think you all know where I'm going with this. So there's a little point, if you look at the charts around here in 2022, where the charts cannot take an inflection point, where application per role increase and where average online scores start to increase. What happened in 2022? ChatGPT was launched, and with that, an arrival of a lot of AI tools helping applicants cheat the system. When it comes to application, that increased number of applications was nothing more than people using AI to write CVs, cover letters in seconds, not hours like I used to back in university, resulting in hundreds and hundreds of applications per role, all creating noise. And when it comes to assessments, those increasing scores are nothing more than people cheating on assessment, using AI to get answers to easy to cheat multiple choice assessment. So when the number of applications are increasing and it gets super easy to cheat, the noise for recruiters becomes unmanageable. Now, you might be thinking, fine, it sucks to be a recruiter. It's really, really hard to find good people, but it must be easy for candidates, right? Easy CV writing, easy cover letters, easy test scores. But we all know how difficult it has been for junior candidates in the past few years to find jobs. Junior hires are now facing some of the toughest market conditions, and there's a completely unbalance between what AI is doing to recruiting and we're doing to candidates. And I'm sure we all know of young people, young students, perhaps in your family, in your friends group, applying to hundreds of jobs just to get a few interviews. You know what else has been getting a lot worse in 2022? Youth unemployment. It went all the way down from 9% all the way up to 16% in just a few years. And when we look specifically at your HR teams, what we see is a massive increase in number of hours spent on interviews. It used to take roughly around 15 hours per role to hire someone, and that number has now gone up to more than 45 years, more than triple in only a few years. So it's easy to get to the conclusion that AI is bad. AI must be the cause of all issues, right? Let's kill AI. But we know the solution is not that. But it's time to change how we use AI and adapt. What was working 5 years ago is not working today. And using the same system, the same assessment we used to use 5 years ago in an AI world is not the solution anymore. So let's start by fixing the issue. I know many of you are probably familiar with these types of assessment. They've been used for years, they've been pretty reliable, but they're 20 years old. And sorry to break it to you, but that's how easy it is to cheat on them. All it takes is taking a quick screenshot, pasting the answer to the question, ChatGPT, copy, paste, and in 3 seconds, boom, you get the right answer. When it's that easy to cheat, anyone can score high, and the noise and the validity of these results is close to zero. So how do we test people? How do we assess talent? Well, meet Fairshot. Fairshot runs voice and video interviews that are fully dynamic, fully conversational, adapting to each candidate answers, and customized for each role in each company. We don't have a library of assessment. We work with each of our clients to build custom interviews, custom assessment that really mimic what a first-round interview will look like. You're now able to meet every applicant, customize what you're measuring for, and find people that would have been missed by the traditional hiring process. What this looks like for you is being able to get to a short list of job-ready candidates in no time. Where you can interview thousands of people, it takes days, not weeks, to find the best people. You don't lose any hidden gems, and all of this within a suite of anti-cheating measures that makes it impossible to cheat. Now, I'm going to take you through a very quick case study. One of our clients, a leading banking firm here in London, has been using Fairshot on their summer internship intake. They saw a massive increase in candidate quality, which then resulted in a massive drop of interview hours wasted on the wrong candidates. And they were able to shrink by 86% the time spent on screening. When you believe in your assessment, the bar for CV can be a lot lower because you're using your assessment as the ultimate source of truth of deciding who goes forward and who doesn't. My time is almost up, so I'm going to have to leave it here. I would love to give you a full demo, but I'm going to perhaps have a little demo of me running on the background where you can see me answering several questions. Questions can be both motivational and fit questions, as in this case, but the real value of this assessment is that we're able to bring technical, complex, specific questions to banking, consulting, law, questions that would often require a senior interviewer person to take from the beginning of the assessment.
Walk me through this P&L. Identify
For example,
the
is
key
a
red
quick
flags you
question
see
on
and tell me what's driving the decline in
audio,
earnings.
sorry for that.
I want you to be specific about the margins.
But you can see myself, being asked the question, answering. Technical screening is something that often is only done at the interview level, and we're bringing that at the beginning of the process. Thank you so much.
First question, what geos are you working at the minute? Geographies?
What deals?
What geographies?
Yep. So we are based in London, and we've got most of our client base here in London. We've got around 20 companies here in London we work with, 3 in Europe and 5 in the US. So most of it is the UK for the moment.
Okay, great. What is your assessment of your risk category for the EU AI Act, and how are you positioning yourself given that risk category?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we definitely fall in the medium to high risk. Now, if you know about it, the EU AI Act categorizes your AI use case based on different criteria. So we are not scoring humans, but we're giving a recommendation of a score. Now, our system, and I'm not able to show it here, but maybe I'm able to show it in this screenshot, gives a score of a candidate based on real evidence. So for each question, what we do is that we look at what the question was, what the answers was. We extract the data from the transcript, not from the audio, to remove any sort of bias due to language, accent, ethnicity, and so on. So we only look at the transcript. And with the transcript, we have an evidence-based approach where we can see exactly, this was the question, that was the answer, and that's the reason why we give that question 7 out of 10 points or 5 out of 10. The recruiter, which is the ultimate human in the loop, has the ability to click on the question, re-listen to the answer, and adjust the score. So if a recruiter thinks that instead of being a 5 out of 10, it should be a 7 out of 10, they've got the ability to really listen to that part of the interview and adjust the score. When they adjust the score, we collect information on why it was adjusted, and our talent brain keeps learning based on candidates and feedback to get better and better over time. So we always keep a human in the loop when it comes to that. And then on EU bias reporting, we also publish bias reports with all of our clients per batch, per role, tracking all the key metrics that are now compulsory to do for the EU Act and the New York State Act that went live last year.
How did you acquire your first customers? What marketing channels or sales channels did you use?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So it was probably through a warm introduction and through our own network. Before Fairshot, I spent 5 years in consulting. I was at a McKinsey company. So I learned a lot about hiring in consulting, case studies, interviews, and so on. And my co-founder was in finance. So through our own network of consulting and finance and professional services in London, we met a friend of ours that was very involved in recruiting at a consulting firm in London. We got the intro from them, we did the demo and so on, we got onboarded and so on. That was our first commercial customer, but on parallel with that, we had 4 university partnerships in London with Imperial, ABS, LSE, and UCL. We were able to test the technology on 5,000 students for free as part of studies. But we first got a good grip with like, is it working, is it measuring the right thing, is there no bias coming out of it? And after that, we moved to our real commercial clients.
And what are your plans after this?
In terms of product?
In terms of acquisition of
yes.
new clients?
So today we've got some pretty robust outbound channels. I think that specifically being in early careers, grads, internships has been helping us a lot because the issues that these clients are facing are very similar. They're all seeing like an insane amount of applicants increasing. So one of our clients receives over 100,000 students applications per year. Of course, they're not doing 100,000 assessments. There's some pre-screening to the CV component. But when the numbers are so big and everyone is scoring well, and let's be honest, at the university level, most CV look very similar. You know, they've not done that much experience. They maybe have a few internships, but then assessment become even more important because at that point, the CV doesn't say that much.
And one last question from me.
Of course.
I wonder about the experience of the candidates, of these students applying for internships and so on.
Yeah.
Do you somehow measure their satisfaction with having to go through the strict AI assessment instead of having a real human talking to them?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, first of all, we don't see ourselves as replacing human interviews, but we see ourselves making sure that those precious human hours are given to the best candidates. So we come before real interviews. So we replace perhaps multiple choice assessment that typically have a lot more pressure behind them. So, you know, when you're doing 30 questions in 30 minutes, it's a lot more pressure. Also, let's say more legacy video interview system would use recorded question and answers that were very one way. You would be given a question, you have to answer while being recorded. And our interviews, actually, you can ask for help, you can get clarification. If you're stuck on a question, you can ask for guidance. It's a real interaction that is really two-way, that's dynamic and adapts. And collecting feedback from our candidates at the end of every submission, we've been seeing really, really good score. And we've got a really high completion of like over 85% across our clients, which is much, much higher than what we see across most assessment types. Because once you start the assessment, it really is a conversation. Like you're giving an answer, and you get a follow-up dynamically based on your answer. So that really keeps the candidate engaged in the loop, and it creates a lot of a more, let's say, safer space to talk. And also we purposely decided not to do any weird AI-looking avatars that no one really likes them, but to keep like a webcam feed where you see yourself, you hear the voice. We're not doing any fake sort of like avatars and so on that we don't think look very natural.
I just have a couple of really quick ones, and I haven't asked any questions all day, so this is the first. Are you out of UCL?
No, I went to LSE.
LSE. Right. What's the UCL tie-in? How did you?
So, I mean, we worked through, with friends and stuff, and now some of our employees, we went to all the university we could to try and get students on board to try the platform. We went to university with the idea of like, hey, if you're a student and you sign up, you can get free interview practice. Whether you're applying to consulting, banking, law, sales, marketing, you can practice interviews for free on our tool, and you get a feedback. And so we collected thousands of submissions that we then used to test our scoring models and so on.
And are you entirely a pre-apply tech rather than a post-apply tech?
What do you mean?
Are you pre-apply? So before someone ends up in the funnel, you live below. If we think of top of the funnel upside down,
Yeah.
you live below the funnel. So you're feeding the funnel of qualified people rather than it's a new category effectively that we're seeing in the market.
Yeah.
But
So-
it's pre-apply rather than post-apply would be somebody's actually applied and put themselves in, and
Yeah.
you screen after, which is what we historically would have called matching in that process.
Yeah. So we are typically post-apply. So our clients will be using their own ATS system, and we plug on top of the current ATS system as an assessment provider. So candidates will apply to a job, and then after applying, they receive an invite link via email to complete a fair shot interview, and the results of that will be fed into the company's ATS platform.
Okay, I don't want to influence the scores, but I'm more confused now. 'Cause I don't know whether you're a screening tool
Yeah.
or a matching apply tool
We are a screening tool.
or an assessment tool, because you kind of said you're an assessment tool.
So we test candidates for screening purposes within our clients' own ATS systems.
Okay, that's cool. So next up.
Thank you.
I'm going to be different and I'm going to stand here today. Oh, sorry. I think my presentation isn't up yet, so. Yes, here we go. So thank you again, everyone. I'm Gizem. I'm a business development director at Natio, and Natio is a soft skill assessment platform. So we're a team of psychologists, HR consultants, software developers, and academics. And for the past 17 years, we've been working directly with organizations to kind of understand their people and help them and guide them in that sense. What we keep seeing over and over again is that talent decisions, quite expensive ones, are being made on instinct rather than data. So that's where we've developed Natio, and that's where Natio comes in. So we all know a hire that looks perfect on paper, great CV, excellent interview, but it just didn't work out. And most of us have seen this in the workplace. And what happens is that we don't usually have enough data on this person, so we don't know how they work under pressure, and we don't know how they handle problems, or whether they're an actual fit for the role or not before we even hire them. And research shows that 89% of bad hires are because of soft skills, not technical ones. And yet we're still kind of processing that area with 45-minute interviews and a gut feeling. So Natio replaces that with scientific evidence, and it's fair and it's objective in the area of assessment. So most organizations have data in their finance areas, they have data in their sales, they have data in their operations, but when it comes to their people, they're usually lacking the data that they need, and it's based on an impression of the interview given that day. So Natio aims to close that gap by perfectly matching the people to the jobs. So we work with over 350 clients, and we do different things for all of them. So we work with, for example, Pfizer, Nestle, can't see, H&M, Sephora, Inditex, and we do different things for all of them. But we take a lot of pride in the candidate experience as well, because we know that it could be stressful on behalf of the candidate. So we try to make all of those screens and the experiences as clear as possible so they can kind of have a smooth sailing experience as well. So once they complete their assessments, we usually say feedback to them, and they've scored us a 98% satisfaction rate throughout their processes. So what does soft skills actually look like, and what do they mean? So the word soft is generally misleading because they're observable, they're measurable, and they're patterns in how people behave in the work environment. So how they communicate, how they think, how they solve problems. And it's not just about finding a good person, it's about finding the right person for the right organization and the role. And that's a much harder data when we're lacking, that's a much harder issue when we're lacking data. NARTIO assesses across 36 global competencies, and it's not just for hiring purposes, so it's used for the whole entire talent cycle, so onboarding, recruitment, development, talent, and any sort of training as well. So where we kind of differentiate ourselves from the rest is our tools that we also offer alongside the assessments. So we've got our AI candidate feedback assessment. So as candidates complete their assessments, they always want to know, how did I do? What can I do to better myself in those areas? So historically, these questions were answered and it required a HR professional to take time, a follow-up session, maybe even writing up a report. And what NARTIO has done is we've automated it. So as soon as candidates complete their assessments, we're able to send them automated AI feedback reports directly to their email. And it includes things like their strengths, their areas of weakness, TED Talks that they could listen to, any book recommendations that they can also take part in and read. And so every candidate leaves the experience feeling valued. And even if they're not hired, they've got something to take home with them. And then we've got the AI proctoring tool. So that was the candidate side that we spoke about. The HR side, it's quite, with AI and everything else evolving, how do we ensure that the people that are completing the tests are themselves and they're not cheating and there's nothing else that's involved? So we've developed a AI proctoring tool, and it removes the concern entirely. So we're able to monitor the candidate via their camera and then report and detect and flag any sort of cheating behaviors that they've displayed during those times. So every candidate, no matter where in the world, is kind of measured in the same fair environment. And then we have our 100+ roles that we have on the platform. So we know that different roles require different skills. For example, if you're hiring for a software developer, that would be different to a sales manager. So each of these would require their own core competencies. And NARTIO comes with 100 predefined role profiles, So if you're not sure what to use or how to assess a candidate, you're able to use our drop-down bar, search for the role you want to assess, and then the platform suggests the competencies to be used. If you do have your own competency set, which we find that with global clients like Sephora and Inditex, they do, we're able to customize the screen and this page for them. And then lastly, we have our predictive role matching. So with mass projects, so mass recruitment or graduate programs, our clients usually have 2,000+ candidates. And once they've all been assessed, they don't really know what areas or what departments they belong in. And so once a candidate completes the assessment, we use AI to map their profile, and we're able to say that this person will be good in this department, in this role, but they might struggle in this part, this project or this role, and things to keep an eye out on. So thank you. Yeah, what NARTIO does, just to wrap it up, it gives you the data to make better people's decisions.
Excellent. So questions? Chinsu, I could see ready with one.
Hi. How do you ensure that you stay up to date in terms of your roles database every single time that, each year new roles are invented?
Yes, so they're updated quite frequently, and what we do is we use, for example, LinkedIn as our primary kind of base for that. So if a role is open, there's usually soft skills that come with that role, and we're able to follow that. So our kind of consultants are able to follow all of the new roles that come in and all of the new core competencies that are expected for that role. How we've developed it so far is we've had the experience of traditional assessment methods for 17 years, so we've got all of that data. And then we also did the whole LinkedIn and a search pilot for that, and then we've gathered all of the data and we've put it onto the platform, but we follow it up recently. And
so when you say also in your slide 16+ years of experience, does it coincide to when you launched?
Yeah, so what it is,
you launched 16 years ago.
Yes, not NARTIO itself, But we've had experience, so the co-founders have experience of traditional assessment methods. So that would be with a consultant, and that would be like interview processes. It would be like role-playing exercises, like PowerPoint exercises. So we've got all of the experience in that. And what we've done with Natio 4 years ago is digitalized all of that, made it all like online, less time consuming, more objective and scientific.
Okay, so what would you say is your USP versus your competitors? And that's my last question, guys.
Yep. Thank you. I'd say currently is I know that sounds really cliche at the moment. One of the main things is we provide great support. So even today, we've spoken to a lot of people where they work with the global clients or they work with the global companies, but they can't get through to anyone when there is a technical issue. So we provide that support entirely from start to finish, and we become part of our client's team. That's something that I would say, but also the technology-wise. No one in this field has provided free automated AI feedback for their candidates as well. So that's something that we're very proud of. Proctoring usually comes at an extra cost. We've developed all of this and we provide it on the platform. So once you have access to the platform, we don't say that using this would be an extra charge or anything else like that.
You've got a really impressive slide with brands for a startup that has won those customers.
Yep.
How many of those brands are actively using the technology?
Most of them. All of the ones that we have today, they come from the 17 years of experience we have, but we've managed to divert them onto Natio. So these are all Natio users. They're using the technology, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Can
Yeah.
you give us a little bit of a deeper look into how an assessment actually happens?
Yeah.
So is it a question and answer form? Is it an interview?
Yeah.
How is the assessment actually happening?
Sure. So with the soft skill side of assessments, that usually depends on the competencies you select. So for example, if we're talking about a management role, that would require a different set of assessments than if we're talking about an entry-level role. For an entry-level role, for example, it would usually be, again, depending on the competencies we select, it would usually be a personality inventory. So they're presented with a text. So I like to be in social environments, and then they're asked to rank it. It would be situational judgment tests. So they're presented with a video, and again, they're asked to rank it. We've got general reasoning tests. So we measure their verbal, numerical, abstract ability. And we've also got things like in the entry level again, attention to detail tests. So how well they are able to pinpoint any mistakes and focus on their attention.
Okay, can you give us an example from a leadership example where you're measuring soft skills suitability for leadership roles? What does that look like?
As in the competencies or the soft skills that we would select, or what would be in that package?
More how the assessment is happening.
Okay, so yeah, it doesn't really matter based on the role. What happens is once we've selected the competencies we want to assess as HR users on the platform, you're able to send that over. And then whoever it is that's taking the assessment, they receive an email. They click on the link. They complete it. For management roles, there's more kind of difficult tests where they include like data, and we ask them to kind of understand and read verbal and numerical data, including tables. And once that's all been completed, we as HR receive a report on the platform, and the candidate will receive the automated AI feedback if the user wants to send that to them. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, what's the commercial model you're using?
So we don't like to tie down any of our clients. So we don't have a model where it's a 1-year use, or you have to. It's not a membership. How it works is with tokens. So each soft skill costs 1 token. Within our clients, it's the basis of the more you buy, the less you pay. And so it's a minimum of 100 tokens per purchase. And once anyone purchases the 100 tokens, they're able to use it however they want on the platform. So we do have an AI interview tool on the platform as well. So if they want to use that, they can feel free to use that. Or if they want to do the soft skill assessments, again, it's completely up to them how they want to use the tokens in the on the platform.
Thank you. And some of your competitors are pretty big, well-established players. How do you see you competing with them in the future?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot for everyone else. So I feel like we are in our market, we're doing quite well as well. So I feel like there's a lot of clients and there's a lot of space for everyone. And I feel like, we are growing quite fast with our clientele as well. So hopefully we won't be too far off from them maybe in the future.
When you say in our market, what do you mean by
I mean, like
market?
in our area is what I meant when I meant market, not region-wise.
And the area is like
Same assessments.
And may I ask, after you sign a customer, how long does the onboarding take?
We don't have an onboarding process, so we offer two different services. If the client wants, we can sit with them and for free, we walk them through the platform, we send them videos of how to use it anyway. We give them a small 15 to 20 minutes kind of tour of the platform. If not, they're able to, it's just a signing up process that we handle. Once that's done, they're able to kind of be online, send the assessments as they wish. So it's less than 10 minutes.
But how much time do they take to launch, usually? It's a big enterprise.
So, again, not long. Unless there's an integration process involved, if they're going to use Nartio itself, it just requires setting up a name, surname, and allowing them to use the platform as they wish.
Okay. And one more question is, you mentioned some sort of scientific evidence that was added to the assessments on the platform. Can you talk a bit more about?
In what sense? Just as like how scientific they are, or?
You mentioned that you used the experience of one of the founders, but also that you added more scientific judgments, I guess.
Yeah, so when developing all of our tests, we did speak about it again, so it's going to be a bit repetitive for everyone else, but when developing all of our tests, we work with the correct consultants, the correct psychologists, or the correct kind of academics that we need. So we also have English-speaking language tests on the platform as well, and we know that someone that's developing that or helping us develop that is completely different to someone that's their field is in the sense of a kind of general reasoning test. That's completely different. So we work with the correct people when assigning and developing all of our assessments. Once we've developed them all, we're quite strict on the validity, the kind of test retests. Recently, we had a bank we did a project with. I'm just going to wrap it up quickly. We had a project with a bank recently, and they had, before they started using Nartio, they had done the traditional assessment methods. And then they wanted to see how in line it is with their findings of the traditional assessment methods, and it was 94%. So someone that had scored, again, using the same competencies, traditionally scored the same on Nartio, and it was less time-consuming and easier for the candidate to be part of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's have a round of applause. That's great. Okay, while the judges are adding up the scores, we're just going to have a wild card presentation. These are the three finalists, so over to you. And this is encore from earlier. And the judges, if you can add up your scores, please, to calculate the winners.
Thank you. Oh, okay. So hello everyone, my name is Silvia. Came directly from Italy to introduce you to Encore HR. But before I do that, let's try together to review why hiring is broken in reality. So job descriptions are written inconsistently and most of the time baked with bias already in it before candidates even apply. And then we have candidate screening, which is time-consuming, really manual, super subjective. We need to do active sourcing, but then this is done on a different platform, and the data are not connected. Decisions are often subjective, as a result, I would say. And so everybody is really wasting a lot of time. I wouldn't say it's a resourcing problem. I really think it's an infrastructure problem. Let's talk about Encore HR. This is not another AI tool to add to your stack, first of all. So I would describe it as an end-to-end AI-powered ATS that really helps a recruiter go from operations to hiring decisions. How it works in 3 steps. understand. So encourage her understand the CVs, the job description, the role requirements, and then rank applications. So recruiters, when they come to office in the morning, they can focus on the one who really are matching the role requirements. And then act. So encourage her automatically triggers the next step. It can be invitation to interview, communication, workflows. Let's get a bit into more details. In 5 minutes, I won't be able to present everything, but I've chosen some functionalities. So the AI job description generation, as I told you, when you open a role, AI will write for your specific company, for that industry, for that seniority level, the job description. And this will be much more inclusive and will make sure you don't scare away candidates even before they apply. At the same time, AI suggests video questions, competency-based questions, and scored questions based on the job description. So really, you can help a recruiter filter candidates during the application process already. With the Active Search plugin, you are able to really take, extract, and structure candidate profiles from LinkedIn. And so these candidates are imported into their ATS, and they are already there. You can, of course, write personalized messages to candidates, all in the same tool. When the candidates start coming in, then the AI ranking really score candidates based on how well they respond to the job description. And really, it takes a second. I recently closed a role for my team, and I tell you, I just really concentrated on the first 10. To be honest, in the first 5 interviews, I found a candidate. So really 0 time screening for myself. But AI also goes into the database because possibly you have hired already, and so you've got a big talent pool, and maybe the talent is already there. So when you open up a new role, AI will suggest candidates from your database that you can reconsider for your role. So you see, we are talking about really big improvement, not a small one. Our clients are talking about 20% on average improvement in time to hire, and definitely a 50% faster screening. And the other thing that I really want to underline, our implementation takes really weeks, not months. It's not a painful, expensive migration project. It's really a fast implementation. So I think this is the future of talent acquisition. We don't feel we want to substitute recruiters. This cannot be replaced. We are really here to support them and give them the time to do what they can do better, which is meeting people and really assessing the right talent. Here we go. If you're also tired of having your recruiting team spending 80% of their time on operations, please come and I will show you the demo. Thank you. Excellent. I leave it here.
Okay, that's fantastic. Round of applause. And a round of applause for our judges who've been hard counting, calculating, and figuring things out. It has been a close run, very close run competition by a few points to come up with a winner. And our winner today for this year's prize is Fair Shot. So round of applause for Fair Shot. With a difference of 2 points. Thank you. So let's just... The judges want to come up on stage as well. Make me look a bit more glamorous. Keep the beard away from me. Velcro.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks so much. Grazie. Thank you.
on. It's just taking his picture. It's the Italians sticking together. Thank you. So thanks, everyone. Thanks for showing up. We're back tomorrow on the innovation area with the AI and innovation competition. Congratulations to everyone who took part. Well done all. Thank you.